Hey, Rebel, Shanghai 6, front towards Gamer. We're here with Chet Faliszek from Valve, and I am here at the Counter-Strike booth. Global Offensive, Counter-Strike Go. Let's go ahead and talk to him about it. Chet, how are you doing this afternoon?
Pretty good. Thanks for coming out to visit.
Absolutely. I wanted to see what y'all are promoting here. So, Counter-Strike Go, is that what you guys are calling it in-house?
We've decided we're going to let the community tell us which way to say that. It's kind of internally. Should it be Geo or Go? Military guy, would you say Geo or Go?
Probably just Go. I can't see Global Offensive, but...
Yeah, Global Offensive. You get halfway through the word offensive and you start forgetting what you're saying.
What am I talking about? Right, exactly. So all right, so say I'm a dyed-in-the-wool Call of Duty player. How are you gonna get me to play your game?
So, first of all, I love those games, and I play those games myself, right? Okay. But there's something that's unique to modern shooters for Counter-Strike, and that's the game is always, every time you pick it up and you jump in that game, it's about, are you better than the guy you're playing? You don't have anything special because you've put more time into the game. You don't have anything special because you got lucky and got a couple of shots in a row. It's all about, hey, I'm encountering you. Am I better than you, or are you better than me? Am I better than you in my skill? Am I better than you in outthinking you? Am I making better choices in the metagame of what am I going to purchase between rounds? Or am I just a better player than you? And so when you die in Counter-Strike, you die because the other guy's better than you, or you messed up. It's not a lot of other noise. We try to remove as much noise as we can from that part of it so that it could all be about that skill competition.
All right, very nice. Now, the first thing I noticed when I grabbed the controller, I was lost. Like, this is not like a pick it up and, again, you get into that mindset, Battlefield, Call of Duty, left trigger zoom, right trigger fire. Your right thumbstick is sprint, things like that. None of that's here. Like, it's kind of there, but, like, I have an M4, I can't zoom on it, I need a scope. Like, I need a scoped weapon. What were some of the choices that you guys decided? We're gonna do away with all that. We're gonna go back to basic Counter-Strike.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, we're trying to actually do some of the mapping of the sticks. So right trigger is fire, right? Like some of the things people are used to. But like we didn't want to bring in things like iron sights, because that slows the pace of the game down. That's a different kind of game. Again, it makes a lot of sense in the other games that do it. I understand why they do it. But we wanted to make sure when we brought Counter-Strike up to the modern consoles that we did it without changing what the game was. It was really important to us of like people are like, oh, why isn't this Counter-Strike 2? Well, you know what? We don't think of it that way. We think of our goal is we wanted to make the best Counter-Strike looking at what we've learned since we released it back in 2004. And everything we've learned, we want to incorporate into this game, and that's the game, and that's our goal, is to bring that forward and kind of combine some of the stuff we learned about that we made mistakes in Counter-Strike Source, some of what we like about 1.6, and just really keep that core essence of what Counter-Strike is.
Okay, another key thing that I was told, this is downloadable. This isn't a full box release. What platforms, how much are we talking?
It'll come out on the PS3, 360, PC and Mac, and it will be priced accordingly. It's going to be downloaded. Who knows? We don't really, again, that's another thing we just don't worry about. We know if we make the best possible version of Counter-Strike, we're good. What we charge for it is going to be appropriate to the market. We're not really worried about what that exactly is right now.
Now, how are you going to work in the PC? You still have a Counter-Strike community out there, still playing 1.6. How are you going to try to work them into this, or are you going to continue to support the original Counter-Strike through this process?
So we're going to continue to support, and in fact, we just did a big update of Counter-Strike Source. We'll continue to support those platforms. Counter-Strike Go doesn't become popular because those become less popular. Counter-Strike Go becomes popular because it's a better game. And so while we're supporting those, we're also talking to the Counter-Strike Source pros. We brought those guys in. Now we're talking to the 1.6 pros and seeing what they want out of a game and seeing, does that make sense for this game? Not to say we're going to bring in everything. We're not going to go back to Counter-Strike 1.3 and bring in air control and bunny hopping. But there are some things that we did that we need to correct. One of them is skill ceiling. So in Counter-Strike Source, we kind of clamped down what the skill ceiling was. And so if you're a really good player, you could only differentiate yourself from the other players by so much, right? Think about it like if you're a pitcher on a Major League Baseball team, you're pretty good because you're on a Major League Baseball team, right? But now what if they said the fastest you're allowed to throw is 90 miles per hour and you can never throw faster than that? All of a sudden there's a bunch of guys who aren't going to be as good as they could be. So there's a lot of nuanced things really top players do in Counter-Strike as well that we want to allow them to do and allow them where it doesn't impact the gameplay on other people. And one of the ways we're doing that is We have ranked matching. So it's your skill. It can be your ELO rank will determine where you fall in matching, and then we're going to match you with like people. So if you're a really good player, you're not going to ruin the game of really bad players because you're not going to play them. They're going to be playing with themselves. You'll be playing with your group of people of like skill from you. And so we're also tossing into the mix the PS3. So we're going to have cross-platform play.
Really?
And so a lot of PC players get scared, like, oh my God, you're going to ruin it. Well, you know what? If you're really a good PC player, and if what you say about the PS3 is really true and they're all so horrible, you're never going to encounter them. So it's not a difference. But now I think what you're going to find out is there's some PS3 players that are really good. And they're really good with the control.
You got to work with what you got,
Yeah, and they're going to be able to match you, or at least to be to some level. And so it'll be interesting as the process starts rolling out to see where people fall in, and we'll react if there's a problem. But we're betting on the idea that if your grandmother is playing on the mouse and keyboard, she's not going to be able to beat me on my controller. Unless she's really badass, which in that case, sorry, Grandma. But the idea is still the best player's going to win. We don't make cheats for the console players. There's no auto aim or anything like that. It's still about your skill and your ability to play.
Very nice. I noticed as I was playing through, I recognized that map. I don't know what it's called, but it felt like I was back in 2003. It's like, what was that called?
So that's Dust. And so there's a little trick to you though. One of the cool things of having a game that's so popular is the community's really able to tell us what works and doesn't, because Dust went from being a super popular map to a map no one plays anymore. Well, why not? Well, because there's some problems with the competitiveness of that map. So, you know what? We can go in and tweak it. So we've added another entryway. We've moved some spawn spots. We've made it a competitive map again. And so we're going to go back and do maps that are a problem, we'll fix. Maps that work, like Dust 2, we don't need to fix. So like the most popular map ever played, let's run with it, right? Let's just say that one's working.
All right, well, sounds good. You guys have a beta coming out, like next month?
So we have a beta in October, and that's really going to determine the release date. So we're saying what we enter in the beta with, we think is pretty close to what we're going to ship. We think we made a lot of smart choices. We've talked to a lot of people. We've gotten a lot of feedback already. But we're open to say that's probably not what we're going to ship at the end of the day. That we'll get some feedback, that we'll make some changes, we'll make some adjustments, and then when the community tells us it's time to ship, we'll package it all up, and the beta have a full release on all the platforms.
Hey, I think you got plenty. No one is going to rush you with this. Valve is known for taking their time, but putting out a solid damn product. So go ahead and take your time with it. I'm sure no one will yell at you.
No one would ever rush us about any game ever, I'm sure.
Half-Life? Anyway, Chet, it has been a pleasure. Thank you very much. Game is Counter-Strike Go. Global Offensive, hopefully this early 2012-ish.
Oh, yes.
All right. Thank you for your time. Certainly appreciate it.
Oh, thanks.
Shanghai 6 out.